Here on Wham Baam Dashcam, we've shown you over 1,000 dashcam videos sent in by our fans, and we serve up 20 new ones every week. Today we're showcasing some of the craziest clips we've ever featured, so buckle up for Wham Baam Dashcam's Worst Drivers of Utah, Volume 1. Todd was following a silver Land Rover that had been swerving around and drifting over lane lines. Fearing the driver was impaired, watch what happened while he was on the phone with the local emergency dispatch.
Okay, he just hit somebody right in the intersection of 6000 West.
The Land Rover smashed into the back of another SUV that was stopped at a red light. Todd continued to give updates to the 911 operator and checked on the victim while waiting for the police to arrive. Todd told us he's already helped get 3 drunk drivers off the road prior to this, but thankfully, those cases didn't result in any collisions. John was on his way home when he watched a pickup driver fail to yield to oncoming traffic and get T-boned by a sedan. John stopped and made sure everyone was okay, then gave a copy of his dashcam video to the responding police. Thankfully, there were no injuries. Ian came across a Subaru whose driver was evidently not paying attention. Comment below and tell us why you think he didn't notice the light had turned green. Eventually, Ian got tired of waiting and honked to get the Subaru driver's attention. Not long after, a police SUV passed him before pulling behind the Subaru. A couple of blocks later, he pulled them over for a late-night chat. Hubert was driving his Nissan Xterra when the driver of an SUV pulled out in front of him onto the road. When Hubert honked, the SUV driver hit the brakes and Hubert couldn't avoid running into it.
Are you serious?
Thankfully, Hubert's Xterra suffered only minimal damage and nobody was injured in the collision. The SUV driver was apologetic and his insurance provider offered Hubert $100 to fix his front bumper. Hubert told us he'd just replaced his front bumper, which cost $2,000 in parts and labor. So he's hoping he can get more from the insurance company. He also told us this happened just 2 months after installing a dash cam. He said, "I highly recommend getting one. They pay for themselves." If you need a dash cam for your vehicle, check the video description for exclusive coupon codes just for our viewers. Chris was driving in heavy traffic when an SUV driver grew impatient and decided to use the shoulder to get around everyone else. Unfortunately for them, one of the other drivers in line was a police officer who didn't appreciate their illegal use of the shoulder. A few minutes later, Chris passed them. At least they didn't have to pull over very far.
Thank you.
Watch what happened as Benito was coming off a highway off-ramp. A speeding driver went hurtling past him before running a red light. He then hit a light pole, knocking it over. When Benito and others continued, they had to go up and over a traffic island to get around the fallen pole. Lucas is a Lyft driver who was transporting a passenger when a pickup driver ahead of him lost control in the slushy snow. Lucas was able to slow down and avoid an accident thanks to his snow tires, and his passenger complimented him on his quick reflexes. He also told us he bought the dashcam we recommended in a previous video. Looks great, Lucas. Pete the trucker is a trucker, could you tell? Who was driving his Freightliner Cascadia down a highway when he watched a motorcycle pass a car on the inside shoulder. As the motorcycle passed, the driver of the car was startled and swerved away from it before losing control and spinning into the median barrier. Predictably, the biker sped off, unconcerned about the mayhem they'd caused. Mr. the trucker stopped to check on the driver of the car, but they left before he was able to give them his dashcam footage. He hopes they might see it here and use it to settle their insurance claim. This submitter was heading to pick up an order at a convenience store when a driver with their lights off almost turned in front of him. A police pickup truck pulled over the dim-witted driver for some instant justice. I think it's time for another Wham Bam public service announcement. Just because your car's running lights are partially illuminating the road in front of you does not mean your lights are on. Driving with only your running lights or only your fog lights on could mean your tail lights are off. Not only is driving this way at night illegal, it's also unsafe. Other drivers may not be able to see you ahead of them, and running lights and fog lights aren't designed to provide enough light for you to drive by. The next time you drive at night, make sure your headlights are on, not just your running lights. Better yet, stick them on auto and just leave them alone. Then you won't have to worry about them. Nathan was headed to the mall when he watched a biker behind him nearly get sideswiped by the driver of a Nissan SUV. The biker swerved into the other lane before pulling up next to the SUV and informing the driver of his mistake. Nathan said he thinks the Nissan driver didn't care, but I think I can see him saying, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." What do you think? Darren watched another driver find out why you should be patient when waiting to turn across oncoming traffic. As Darren left a parking lot, the right side of his dashcam caught a car getting clipped by an oncoming minivan when the driver turned in front of it. Darren provided a copy of his dashcam footage to the police. Chris was driving along when the driver of a pickup turned across the road to reach a driveway, only to stop for a pedestrian on the sidewalk. Chris honked as he swerved around the pickup, leaving the driver to complete his poorly timed turn. Thankfully, his quick reaction saved him from a collision. This submitter's sister was driving their family's Toyota Camry when the driver of a 4Runner changed her mind about crossing at a stop sign before backing into her. Both drivers exchanged information before leaving, but our submitter told us the 4Runner's trailer hitch left a sizable hole in the Camry's front bumper cover. Carson was driving down a Utah highway when he came across the aftermath of someone's very expensive mistake. The driver of a dump truck pulling a trailer hadn't measured the height of the construction equipment they'd been hauling, and colliding with an overpass ripped the equipment clean off the trailer. I imagine that guy is having a very bad day. This submitter was driving home in the rain when he felt the front wheels hit standing water. Watch what happened when he overcorrected. Our submitter told us he kept going home after this happened, but he drove a little bit slower. He also noted that he might need new tires on his Mustang, as his tires are a bit too worn out for wet weather. Justin watched a Subaru driver proceed after stopping at a stop sign, evidently not noticing the bright yellow "Cross Traffic Does Not Stop" sign underneath it. A Volkswagen Jetta with no stop sign proceeded through the intersection legally, T-boning the crossing Subaru. Justin told us he gave a copy of his dashcam footage to the VW driver while the Subaru driver was apologizing. Justin and his wife were admiring the Christmas lights on the pickup in front of them when they watched another truck pulling a trailer run the red light to turn left. They weren't the only ones who were watching.
No way!
A sheriff's deputy driving another pickup truck watched the infraction and immediately turned on his party lights. Justin and his wife had never witnessed instant justice before, and they found the situation hilarious. Ashton was making his way down a right turn lane when another driver suddenly swerved directly toward him. The other driver failed to use her turn signals, or her mirrors for that matter, but Ashton used his good gaming reaction to honk and swerve to the right while slamming on the brakes. Ashton thought for sure they'd made contact, but when he pulled into a parking lot to check for damage, he didn't find any. Shout out to his kids Lizzie and Wilkes, who love watching Wham Bam with him. Carson watched an oncoming driver floor it through a gap in traffic before T-boning a passing pickup truck. Thankfully, both drivers maintained control after the collision and managed not to hit any other vehicles. Carson offered his dashcam footage, and he told us the driver of the car accepted responsibility right away. Remember, if you can't see, wait. Your trip will take a lot longer if you wreck your car, or worse. Shadell was driving when he approached an intersection where cross-traffic had stop signs, but Shadell did not. The driver of a pickup with a camper on it, who was clearly on his phone by the way, waved at Shadell after running his stop sign, forcing Shadell to stop and honk to avoid a collision. Shadell told us he had all 3 of his kids in his Toyota Sienna, and if he hadn't been paying attention, it would have been a bad crash. Jeremy was turning left from the rightmost turn lane when a driver in a straight-only lane ran their red light before merging in front of him. Jeremy honked, but the other driver didn't seem to notice. Thankfully, a police officer a short distance behind Jeremy did notice, and he lit up his party lights and chased down the red light runner for some instant justice. Jeremy told us he had a good laugh and carried on. Ollie was driving down a Utah highway when the driver of a blue SUV nearly sideswiped her Chevy Impala when the driver dove for an exit.
Oh my gosh, dang it, man!
Ollie wanted to remind our viewers to check your blind spots before changing lanes. The only reason a collision was avoided was because she saw the SUV and reacted in time. Steven's Volvo C40 was parked in a lot when the driver of a red Prius suddenly careened past him before slamming into a tree. Steven provided his footage to first responders, who informed him that the Prius driver had experienced a medical emergency before losing control of the vehicle. Chase was on his way to work when a car ahead of him nearly sideswiped an SUV before losing control and sliding into the concrete barrier. Chase stopped and checked his dashcam footage to see if the 2 vehicles had made contact, but thankfully the SUV had escaped from the incident unscathed. Shadell's husband was driving them home when some people sitting in the back of a pickup truck and filming threw something at their Toyota Sienna.
Oh, what? They threw eggs at us.
Take a picture of the license.
They took off after the pickup in order to get its license plate number. While they were following it, one of the people in the pickup bed tossed a water balloon at them.
Really?
When they called 911 and reported the incident, police told them they were the second caller, but the first to have a license plate number and dashcam evidence. They caught and charged the individuals with vandalism. Shadell told us they got their dashcam for Christmas, but this was the first time they caught people being stupid. She said their whole family enjoys watching all the Wham Bam channels.
Wham Bam, we got a Patreon, man. Please support the show.